Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. This has to be one of the most horrific and saddest stories coming out of the election, and I'm going to do my very best to report on it because it's not an easy story to actually share with you all. And I do have to pre-warn you all: what you're about to hear is rather tragic and rather horrific in nature. So please do prepare yourself. Um, Especially if you are a parent at all, please keep your kids safe. But this story is actually a perfect reminder that the mainstream media is responsible for sharing these sort of lies about Donald Trump, saying that he's a fascist, he's a dictator, he's Hitler, he's all these horrible negative things, because a lot of people seem to think that he is that, and they have no hope. They have no hope under a Trump presidency. I mean, we're seeing a lot of people on the left have these meltdowns, which is incredibly sad in one hand and also funny in the other hand. But when people do this kind of stuff, I think you've got to draw the line, and you got to know when to stop. But the mainstream media doesn't know when to stop, because not long after Trump was uh, named president-elect, they're still melting down. I mean, the ladies on The View, far out. Like, they are just absolute goals. Like, they won't shut up. They won't shut up because they're angry, bitter, spiteful women that aren't smart at all. 74 million Americans voted for Donald Trump. Trump won fair and square, but they can't accept that, because apparently the 74 million people that voted for Donald Trump happen to be racist, transphobic, homophobic. They happen to all be dictators themselves, apparently. They happen to be racist. They happen to be all these sort of things. But what's worse is the lie that Trump is going to put people in camps. What's worse is all these other lies to say that he's coming after you. And that's what this father tragically believed. He didn't want to live under another Donald Trump presidency. And if the mainstream media is sharing news that Donald Trump is going to destroy democracy as we know it, we're all doomed, it's a doomsday message that a lot of people seem to believe. And then you get stories like this: a Minnesota dad kills his wife, ex, and two children as his chilling social media posts are revealed. Minnesota man who spoke about his fear of a Trump-led government inflicting their misguided beliefs on his family committed the S word after murdering his wife, his ex, and two children following Trump's victory. This happened in, guess who? Tim Walz's state, Minnesota. As tragic and as horrific it is, I was listening to a Patrick Bet-David podcast, and they were actually saying you got to be prepared for a lot of people to actually end their own life after Trump's victory, because they have no hope. They think that Trump is the boogeyman out to get them, and they're never going to be able to live life, which I think is just tragic. It's sad in and of itself. It's really one of the worst lies that they're appealing to a person's fear. We'll get into the details of the story in just a moment, but I want to share this. Peanut, did you win, Mr. Trump? No, Peanut, we did. Sometimes you love the internet, and other times you hate the internet. The Hodge twins go sad as hell. The media did this to people. A Minnesota dad who ranted against President-elect Donald Trump online shot and killed his wife, ex-partner, and his two sons before turning the gun on himself, according to authorities. The shooter, 46-year-old Anthony Nephew, had a pattern of mental health issues. Duluth Police Chief Mike Kenowa said on Friday, one day after authorities found 5 people dead inside 2 homes in the city. Authorities found Anthony Nephew's ex-partner, Erin Abramson, 47. Their son, Jacob Nephew, 15, dead from apparent gunshot wounds inside their home Thursday afternoon. After identifying Anthony Nephew as a suspect, police found his 45-year-old wife, Catherine Nephew, and their 7-year-old son, Oliver Nephew, dead from gunshot wounds inside their family home close by. The mainstream media won't admit to doing anything wrong and causing this. But the mainstream media is responsible, especially CNN and MSNBC, CBS, all of the left-leaning news outlets that are lying all the time about Trump. See, the more you tell people this fearful thing that Trump is the worst person on the face of the earth, he's going to destroy democracy, the more you fearmonger people into submission, the more they're going to actually believe you and actually fall in line and do crazy things like this. I don't think you see any people on the Republican side doing stuff like this. Why do you only seem to see it with Democrat sides? Like, because they're crazy. They've got this doomsday-like mentality. And so they think the only way of fixing the issue is by taking not only their own life, but the lives of other people as well. You see trans shooters doing the same thing, taking people's lives because they're angry. You don't see people on the right doing that. And people on the right happen to be the ones that own the most guns. The New York Post said mental health issues. It's not the gun's fault. It's mental health. You got to look at a person's mental state, because their mental state, if it's not well, they're going to do crazy things like this, aren't they? But people seem to think, oh, no, it must be the gun. The gun told him to do this. The gun called to him. No. What the truth is that Anthony had a history of mental health issues, and you only stirred it up even more by putting this doomsday and fear-mongering thought process in his head. And so he could no longer live with it, no longer live with a Trump presidency, even though it probably would have been the best thing for him and his family. But he just decided enough's enough. I'm going to take my ex's life. I'm going to take my wife's life, and I'm going to take my 2 kids' lives with me. And then I'm going to take my own. Who does that? Anthony Nephew was also found dead inside the home from self-inflicting gunshot wound, police said. Before his rampage, Anthony Nephew had been sharing left-wing and anti-Trump posts on his Facebook account. My mental health and the world can no longer peacefully coexist, and a lot of the reason is religion, Anthony Nephew wrote in July. I'm terrified of religious zealots inflicting their misguided beliefs on me and my family. I have intrusive thoughts of being burned at the stake as a witch, or crucified, or on a burning cross. Amazes me sometimes, like what makes people get to this point in their thought process. Having people actually believe that I or my child are Satan or the Antichrist or whatever their favorite color of boogeyman they are afraid of are this week. In another post, he accused Republicans of making it harder for women to leave abusive relationships. Gilead, here we come, he wrote, referencing The Handmaid's Tale, a dystopian novel turned Hulu series in which women are being stripped of their rights and forced to reproduce for the ruling class. Anthony Nephew shared other political posts, including an image of former President Barack Obama, Trump, President Joe Biden, and Vice President Kamala Harris. The word hate sits under Trump's face, while the words hope, heal, and grow correspond with the Democratic politicians. Well, mate, it's the left side that did this to you, not the right side. Not that anyone cares, but as an independent voter, I would really like to see both the political parties in our country pick better candidates, he wrote in July. We can do better than a binary choice between fascism and not fascism. Anthony Nephew previously even issued a chilling warning about his mental health battles, writing in an op-ed in the local Duluth News Tribune in 2021. For millions of Americans, a breakdown leads to the S word or homicide before the S word. Mental health in this country is stigmatized, ignored, or treated as a burden for the individual to bear alone, with little help and less understanding, he wrote. Well, mate, you should have stuck around because RFK Jr. is going to make America healthy again. Mental health, I hope, will be a lot less than what it is at the moment. Americans deny that mental health struggles because they have to, because they're told to, or because they don't realize their mind is broken. He's trying to speak to himself in that case. Police in Duluth, a city of nearly 90,000 residents, about 135 miles north of Minneapolis, have not yet determined a motive in the shooting. What do you think the motive was, police? Based around his social media posts. Like, hello, wake up. It's clear as day. Oh, but we can't speculate. There wasn't enough evidence to show motive, mate. Guy had mental health. The guy didn't like Trump. Trump won. The news was still beating down this thought through everyone's throats that Trump is the boogeyman. He's Hitler. He's a fascist. He's all these things. So what do you think this man's motive is by taking his life as well as the lives of 4 other people? I'm no police expert, but the evidence and the motive is clear as day. Just think this whole story is horrendous. This kind of stuff should not happen, but it does because of lies spread and because of the mental health crisis that we've got at the moment. And yet women still want to demonize men for being evil instead of helping them. Tragic. Actually tragic. Anyway, you guys take care. Be blessed. And I'll see you all in the next video.